Kevin Knox.
This is now guaranteed that Kevin Knox is going to have an all-star NBA career.
Kevin Devon Knox II, born August 11th, 1999. Today's feature is one that is long overdue, but in hindsight, at least now the picture of why Kevin Knox is flaming out is a little more clear. He's going into his 5th NBA season and is now on his 3rd NBA team. This was a 2018 top 10 lottery pick, listed at 6'9" in college, even though the NBA officially has his height at 6'7". Add to that his elite athleticism makes him physically an interesting prospect. In high school, he was one of the best at his position, with highlight tapes of his game maxed out across YouTube showcasing his unique ability. He had all the tools in his bag, including some of the ones we'll speak on today, that make him look like a completely different player. He could go left, right, middle, baseline, post up, handle the ball, and had confidence still as a big fish in a small pond. Watching him at a young age, you just knew with a little development, which could come with time, he could be a special player. His game has been compared to Giannis in appearance and the way he plays in the open court, only he's always shot more fluidly than Giannis and is a lot shorter, so can't dominate at the highest level, but he still had a smooth game with a quick first step and ability to finish above the rim. Leaving high school, he was a huge name and all the big name schools made an offer. He landed on Kentucky's stacked 17-18 team and was the clear star on that team, leading to him being taken top 10 in the draft over his teammate and borderline all-star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who recently signed a new 5-year deal worth almost $200 million. Knox in 2022 signed with the Detroit Pistons for 2 years, $6 million, and is heading into a make-or-break season on a team in all-out rebuild mode, but with enough young talent to make his services unnecessary if he doesn't show the right intangibles early on. With that said, truly, I think either way, this is the beginning of Kevin Knox possibly being finished in the NBA as far as the ceiling he was projected to reach, and either becoming a journeyman across the league or opting to cash in overseas. Regardless, Kevin Knox's story can be used as motivation to young hoopers never to be settled on achieving the goal of making the NBA. Yes, there's limited jobs in the league, but the number of people that make it there and wash out early is even higher. In fact, it's more common to have players make the NBA than lose their jobs for whatever reason than going on to have 10+ year careers. Kevin Knox was expected to be the latter. What happened to the guy many call the next Giannis? Why was he an absolute bust in the NBA? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man.
Y'all ready to keep this thing moving?
Kevin Knox was listed at 6'9" in high school and his lone season in college, but ultimately lost 2 inches when officially measured entering the NBA. This makes a huge difference as teams love to view young prospects by their potential. A 6'9" small forward sounds a lot better than a 6'7" small forward, much less power forward as one of his listed positions. Kevin Knox was born in Phoenix, Arizona, where his dad played 1 season in the NFL for the Cardinals, but played high school ball in Tampa, Florida. By his junior year, he was already one of the best players in the country, averaging 30 points and 11 rebounds. What I liked most about him around this time was he was still very confident and showed what he could do if mentally he believes in himself. By the end of his senior year, he averaged 28 points a game and 11 rebounds and was all everything, including McDonald's All-American, a Jordan Brand Classic participant, and Mr. Basketball in Florida. Heavily recruited, he decided to join the Kentucky Wildcats, and that was a great decision. He came in with lots of expectations and met enough of them that by the end of the year, his name was one of the most consistent as a top 10 lottery pick. Stunt number 1, a competitive motor. Or lack thereof. Like my most recent feature, Bold Bull, I see the exact same demeanor in Kevin Knox. Motor as an athlete is something you just can't hide. Even though Kevin goes games where he doesn't even get in, you can tell by the way he sits on the bench or gets up during timeouts that he just isn't a dog. He's best suited in situations where he's allowed to make mistakes and develop his rhythm. In a market and team like the New York Knicks to begin his career, that scenario is difficult to find. Only for Knox, he found himself in the exact situation as a rookie and played okay as far as the stats everyone focuses on. Almost 13 points a game and 5 rebounds. But he shot an incredibly low 37% from the field, which says he takes a lot of bad shots, was allowed to only because the team was bad, and over the course of the season didn't find ways to adjust. In high school and at Kentucky, Kevin didn't have that pressure on him like he had being drafted into the biggest sports market period and expected to bring the Knicks back to prominence. He was also already physically and skill-wise levels more elite than his competition, so being worried about having to up his competitiveness wasn't an issue. In the NBA, with there being a fight to keep your position on a daily until at least a long-term deal is signed, it takes a little more competitiveness to be successful, and in demeanor alone, along with his minutes and games played decreasing over the years, being traded and not re-signed, it looks like when approached with the task to compete for his spot, he just doesn't rise to the occasion. Stunt number 2, losing position. A byproduct of lack of competitiveness on a level like the NBA is eventually you will lose out on the position you held for someone else that can't produce. It may not have even been deliberate, but once it's recognized that you're unable to rise and compete when competition is there, as an athlete, it's over. As a rookie, Kevin Knox was a part of a horrible Knicks team. In fact, the 2018-19 Knicks team is tied for the worst Knicks team of all time, winning just 17 games all year. On that team, Knox was one of the leading scorers at 12.8 points a game. The leading scorer, Tim Hardaway Jr., a glorified role player only good for shooting threes on a contending team. After him, a bunch of guys averaging 11 to 14 points a game, and of course Kevin Knox right in the middle. He shot 37% from the field, which shows while 13 points per game is decent as a rookie, 37% shooting means your team was bad and opportunity came a lot easier. He started 57 games that year at 28 minutes a game. The very next year, he started only 4 games at 18 minutes per and averaged just 6 points, shooting an even worse percentage. This was mainly due to the Knicks revamping their roster, bringing in Julius Randle, who had a career resurgence as a Knick. Marcus Morris added to the team, along with drafting RJ Barrett, 3 aggressive scorers who can dominate a personality like Kevin Knox competitive nature-wise, and it cost him to lose a few positions on the depth chart. They finally found their young scoring wing in Barrett and their power forward of the future in Randle, so there was no longer a need for a guy who hasn't gotten better over the years. Therefore, Kevin Knox was traded to the Hawks, who didn't re-sign him this year. Stunt number 3, no immediate impact or lasting potential. And finally, why I think Kevin Knox is closer to being out the league than turning his career around is because he doesn't fall in any of these 2 boxes. Having just signed with one of the worst teams in the NBA, Knox put himself in a position where if he can't get it done for this team, no team will ever take him seriously as far as him reaching his expected ceiling. 2 things you have to ask yourself when trading or giving away anything. Does it provide instant satisfaction to your life, or in this case, to the team right now? And 2, maybe not now, but do you think it can after some time? For Knox, the Knicks and Hawks have had him on their team and both have decided he doesn't provide either. He's an adequate deep shooter but struggles mentally staying engaged, especially when the going gets tough. Once he's in a slump, it's like he's in a trance and going through the motions because he doesn't seem to be confident on the floor and isn't developing at all over the years. In fact, getting worse as time goes by. Once the NBA deems you have no potential, you become an afterthought, and a bust in the case of 9th overall pick Kevin Knox. He doesn't drive or finish going left very often and has but one post move that works in his game so far. He settles for threes too often, much because he's so frail in the body and not a dominant height at the NBA level to help that. When the Knicks drafted Barrett, Obi Toppin, and brought in others to compete with him, it was like he's been overwhelmed ever since and his impact and future value declined. All in all, this is another player to watch that has a huge year in front of him. He has some tools, but he's not developing like expected. Maybe change his trainer or routine, because I guarantee if he doesn't make a significant impact this year, he'll be out the league real soon and officially considered a bust. Salute, hopefully that doesn't happen, but for these reasons, Kevin Knox's growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.